Red. Red is the color of blood. I try not to think about it. I refuse to look at my own hands. If I did, they'd be covered in it. I hate red. Kelly. I stand in a sea of color. It's so bright, so real that I feel like I could almost reach out and taste it. I imagine it tastes like summer's fat watermelon slices or the 4th of July, but my mouth is dry. Even if I could, I wouldn't take a bite. I have too much guilt. The only reason I'm standing here is because I helped kill my daughter. If I'm totally honest with you, and with myself, I would never be standing here if Sam hadn't done what she did. She asked me to come with her to this very parade so many times. I told her there was no way I'd be caught dead marching down the streets like this. I tried to convince her it was just a phase. I told her to keep an open mind, the very thing she was asking of me. I said she was just curious and experimenting. I even tried to tell her it was all a normal part of growing up. But deep down I knew. I knew exactly what was going on with her. I also knew how important it was to her that I support her. I just wasn't ready. I couldn't see myself as that mom. The last thing I wanted to have was pride. I couldn't understand why she couldn't be normal. I felt like she was only doing it to punish me. I'd watch her getting dressed in wild patterns and heels so high I was sure she'd twist an ankle. She'd put on so much makeup it reminded me of a circus clown. I told her so. I told her to take off the mask. She glared at me, telling me I didn't understand. It's ironic that I'm here now. Being at the Rainbow Parade is a horrible consolation prize. I only want my daughter back. I'd go to a parade like this one every year for the rest of my life if I could change things. I'd even have pride in her, in me, in a million things I wouldn't have done so awfully wrong. Pride in the things I'd do over right. I wonder what she thinks of me today, and almost hope there's no afterlife. I admit it, I'm a hypocrite. I should have been here years ago. I should have done whatever it took to support her. But there are no do-overs. At least I don't think. Sam believed in reincarnation. She's probably too busy living another better life to be paying attention. If she is, I know she's rolling her eyes. She'd say, "Finally, Mom's here." The ironic thing is, I couldn't not be here. I am, after all, a conspirator. Maybe I can help some other mother from suffering the same fate. Sam always used to say, "Everything happens for a reason." I can't imagine a good enough reason for her suicide. But there were many. I might have been able to stop her had I listened. I didn't listen when she told me how bad the bullying had become. I didn't take her seriously or buy her the new dresses and makeup she asked for. I told her she needed to see a therapist and to stop trying to change who she was. I said that she needed to focus on school and ignore everyone around her. I told her she was too young to date and that the only thing that would solve her problems was prayer. I told her that maybe she was just bisexual or gay. I told her it was no big deal and that she had plenty of time to figure it out. And then I told myself I was being open-minded. The truth was, my mind was entirely closed and we both knew it. I even asked her what the neighbors might think. Sure, there were warning signs. I should have paid closer attention when her grades dropped and she stopped attending band practice. I should have known something was wrong when she burnt her journals in the backyard. I let her give her trumpet and flute away. Instead, I wrote it off to teen angst and told myself she was only going through a phase. I painted over her pink walls and made them blue. I figured it might help her rethink things. It's probably a good thing I can't hear myself think over the noise. A man wearing white leggings and rainbow leg warmers has a gold horn on his head. His mohawk is dyed every color of the rainbow. I think he's supposed to be a unicorn. I try not to wince as he spins and twirls and prances by. I tell myself at least his mother has him alive. Someday I hope to be able to smile with him. I hope to be able to look past the glitter and overt cries of pride. For now, I need to just be here, part of it, and try. 3 young girls with their arms locked together marched beside me. Their faces are painted red, and I wonder what it symbolizes. They laugh and smile, and I have to make myself look away. It's too late. "Hi, I'm Aubrey." The tallest of the three, the one to the far right, smiles at me. "And this is Harley and Sue." I smile back and keep marching forward. I don't know what to say. I remind myself of what Sam used to say. "They're just like everyone else, Ma, just people too." "Hi, I'm Kelly." Aubrey snaps her gum. I can smell the grape from 2 feet away. Now my smile is sincere. Sam liked anything and everything fruity. Skittles, grape, were her favorite. And don't get me started on her love for Starburst. The girl could eat 5 packages in one sitting. "First time?" Sue, the roundest of the 3, looks me up and down. I have second thoughts about the Pride t-shirt I bought at the start of the parade. She can see right through me. I nod. "Cool." "Yeah, thanks," I say, wishing I'd brought Morgan along. She'd know what to do. Morgan had been dealing with this for years. "You alone here?" I shrug. Sort of." "Sort of?" "Well, yes, I guess I'm here alone." "Cool. Thanks." Awkward. "What do you mean, sort of?" It's the first time Harley has spoken. Her enormous green eyes don't seem threatening, instead inquisitive as she shifts between the 2 other girls and unlocks her arms to wipe sweat from her forehead. "I guess, well, I like to think my daughter is here with me." "Where is she?" You practically begged her to ask. Answer the poor thing. Or maybe lie. No one wants to hear that, and they will know you killed her. "She's not here." I catch a squint in Harley's eyes as she looks to each of her friends for some explanation they may have picked up on. They shrug and smile. "Cool," Aubrey finally says and keeps marching. "Hey, look, a cheetah!" I walk a little slower, letting them get ahead of me. From behind, they seem like any other teenage girls. I want to catch back up and ask them where their mothers are. I wonder if their mothers even know. Or why it even matters. Stop thinking so much. You're here to support Sam. That is all. And it's not enough. I never got to see Sam with a girlfriend or a boyfriend. Morgan says there was one. I have a feeling she was right. There was a girl, one who looked a lot like Aubrey, at her funeral. She sobbed a little longer and lingered in front of a picture of Sam in her favorite yellow hat. That girl must have been her. Or was it the boy in her Spanish class? She talked about him all the time. How can a mother not know? What would Sam look like in love? I imagine her smile even brighter than it often was. When she was little, she talked about her wedding day. She said bridesmaids would wear yellow and there would be daisy crowns for everyone. She wanted to get married on the ocean, or on a farm. Sam could never fully make up her mind. Maybe it was just that there were so many things she wanted to do and experience. I wonder what Sam would have been like as a mother. I've even thought about what it would be like for her to have a queer child of her own. She would have known what to do and never missed a parade. In fact, she would have organized the parade. Sam always did like taking charge. These are the things I'll never know. I don't think a day goes by where I don't contemplate who Sam was and might have been. The funny thing about regret is that it never really leaves you, not until you make peace with it. Right now I'm stuck on regretting regret. I have a long way to go. But then, what else better do I have to do? For me, falling in love again, having more kids, and even planning weddings just aren't in the cards anymore. Morgan says she'll never get married. I believe her. She's too messed up to get attached to anyone. I don't blame her. She's had too many losses for a kid her age. She's had enough. I get it. But then Morgan's always changing her mind. She's nothing like Sam. Maybe there's still hope for her. Morgan is what keeps me going. Without her, Sam would have company. It's another thing I think about a lot, alone at night drinking myself to sleep. If only, I always think, I had the same kind of courage as my daughter. Her name was Sam. She was beautiful in every way. She could light up a room even on her saddest day. She loved to sing and dance and played any instrument she could get her hands on. She was never afraid to hit a wrong note. She just wanted to make music. Sam lived to make other people happy. She liked to entertain. She couldn't have been 4 when she made my kitchen into a concert hall and wouldn't let me have my pots back for months. For an entire summer, I had to make do with an electric skillet. "Don't mess up my band, Ma!" Her name was Sam, and all she really wanted was to be seen and heard. I'll never forget the look on her face the first time she grew her hair out long enough to tie it back. It was utterly ridiculous. But to Sam, she looked like the queen of the world and wanted everyone to know. She had 2 stumps sticking out of her blonde head on either side. They reminded me of antlers. "Look, Ma, ponytails!" She twirled around my kitchen, and I was mortified. A neighbor had just come over to borrow eggs. The neighbor was mortified too, at least when Sam stuck her tongue out for what appeared to be no reason. "I need 5 spoons and a wooden bowl. We're making a fort and doing makeovers. Do you have nail polish, Ma?" "Sam, take that out of your hair and go get cleaned up. Those aren't ponytails. Ponytails are long and flowy. Those are maybe pigtails. Take them out," I barked, praying Mrs. Johnson wouldn't repeat what she'd seen to the neighbors at the block party. Fortunately, she didn't, but she never looked at me quite the same and suddenly never needed to borrow a single egg ever again. For a long time, I thought that was about Sam, until I figured out what was really going on. "And you're being rude, Sam. Say hello to Mrs. Johnson." "No way, she's mean too, and they are ponytails. You're so mean," Sam yelled, stomping back outside to play. "Come on, Morgan, let's go make a girl's fort. We can make a sign that says, 'No meanie pants moms allowed.'" "I don't want to play with you," Morgan said. "I want to stay here with Mom and make brownies." "Gross, you are dumb." "Sam, well, she is. She's a brown nose and boring too." "Well, you aren't going anywhere until you apologize to Mrs. Johnson for being rude." Sam planted her feet firmly onto the linoleum. With her arms crossed, I knew there was no arguing with her. I was relieved when Mrs. Johnson excused herself, but terrified about what she might do all at once. "Please don't say anything to anyone. The kid just has spirit." It seems so silly now that I even worried about these things. Years later, Mrs. Johnson had problems of her own when her son was arrested for burglary, and I won't even discuss what I caught her doing with my ex-husband. Let's just say she has no room to judge. I wonder what she'd think if she knew Sam had been the first to defend her son, saying everyone had their reasons for doing what they did. "Don't judge, Ma, you never know." Her name was Sam, and I didn't really know her. At least not until it was too late.